Part one, you're waiting for a parcel. It's winter, it's getting colder. This parcel is very important to you. And you go down to the reception, try to figure out how this works, where the parcels arrive to. Days go by, nothing. Then you go out and you even meet the UPS driver and ask him about your package, and he just, no. And the package you've been waiting for never comes. The coming package never comes. Part two, Augustus becomes emperor. He has a plan. He wants to renew the Roman Empire, and he believes that the plan and the way to do it is to go back to the values that made Rome powerful. The traditional values. He rebuilds the temples. He also wants to do everything possible to encourage family life, family, marriage, children. And there had been a prophecy, or there had been, Virgil had written this passage. You probably heard about it before. It was I would say maybe 20 years, 30 years before this moment. And Virgil wrote, "The Iron Age will end, and a golden race arise in all the world, a child bringing peace." And Augustus had absolutely no problem with people linking that with him. He was that child that was born that was going to bring peace. However, force of antagonism. There was a problem. The most respected poet in Rome at that time, I think his name was Abbot, had written a lot of poems about love poems, and has sort of brought the convention as far as he could go. He was running out of material. And he decided to stretch the convention a little bit and more advocate in his poetry what we could call the sexual revolution. And obviously his poetry sold very well. To make matters worse, Augustus' daughter, Julia, read the poetry and loved the poetry, and was getting a little tired of this morality talk of her dad, and began to live publicly a life that would follow Abbot's poetry. And so Augustus ended up exiling her, sending her off to exile. And so Abbot's poetry caught on, and Augustus' promise of a renewed society collapsed. That's part two. Now part three. But not everything went wrong for Augustus. He took his finger, the ring, the signet ring, pressed it into the hot wax of a decree where everybody would have to return. Everybody in the Roman Empire would have to return to their places of ancestry and be registered in the census. We probably cannot imagine what a revolution this was in administration. But it would be so successful, of course it was about taxes. It would be so successful that it would make Rome very wealthy and very powerful for hundreds of years to come. And we can imagine right now, we can think because it would be somehow around this time that Mary and Joseph realize that they will have to go to Bethlehem to register. It will be a trip. And I love to think about what was the moment, either was it Mary, was it Joseph, that it hit them. The prophecy about Bethlehem. They were obviously expecting to have their child in Nazareth. He was to be born in Nazareth. But at what moment did Mary or Joseph, did it just click in their mind a link with another prophecy? But you, O Bethlehem, Ephrathah, are only a small village among the people of Judah. Yet a ruler of Israel, whose origins are in the distant past, will come from you on my behalf. The movie Mary of Nazareth, which is very beautiful, made many years ago, it has the moment with Mary on the donkey, a little bit. But it's interesting, right? Because there was so much going on. Maybe they didn't have time to think about it. Maybe it occurred to them immediately, but maybe it was on the donkey on the way to Bethlehem. That's the way the movie has it. And she says, Joseph, where are we going again? I'm not sure it happened that way, but it makes a great scene. Joseph, where are we? Where are we going again? And he goes, Mary, we're going to Bethlehem. And then on the donkey, she remembers this. Beautiful. Let's read it again. But you, O Bethlehem, are only a small village among the people of Judah. Yet a ruler of Israel, whose origins are in the distant past, will come from you on my behalf. In that scene in the movie, suddenly she realizes, oh, this is part of God's plan. This is all part of God's plan. It's not just an inconvenience. And so as we see, Augustus played a larger role than he thought about the baby coming that would bring peace. And whether it's the package, whether it's Augustus' promise to renew society, create a better world for the family, all of which collapsed, all of which never came. The one person that never lets us down in our lives, the one person that always comes, the person that never lets us down, is God. So in this Mass, let's thank Him for that. That's what we're celebrating right now. God, you never, ever, 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 you're the only person that never, ever lets us down.